Peter, in the last segment you talked about the importance of values, aligning your values with what's important to you on a day-to-day basis. Right. And I think a lot of people would tend to agree with you, but at the same time, deep down, they may understand what's important to them, but on a day-to-day basis, they might have trouble executing on it.
Right.
What advice would you give to people in that situation?
Well, by interviewing a lot of successful people over the past 3-4 decades, I found that the thing that holds the successful people apart from the people who don't attain their goals is their ability to focus. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it's so important that I've made it the second pillar in my 5 pillars. The ability to focus and to be able to, with almost laser-like intensity, upon the goal that you want to achieve. Mm-hmm. Once you focus on the goal, for example, my own values are health, freedom, happiness, and integrity. Mm-hmm. Well, things that make me happy is to see my family happy and be with the family and have good health. And I always say that if you can get a goal that hits one or more of your values, that's great. One day along Dallas Road by the ocean, when I was running one day, I saw this fellow going along and he had pushing a pram, and he was jogging actually with the pram. His wife was running along beside him. He had a baby with him on his back and the pram and the dog. And they were running along the thing. And I looked at that and I thought, my gosh, there's a perfect picture. He had everything there. He had health, he had his freedom, he had happiness, and an integrity. And I thought, what a great picture, of success. And this was because he was focused on all those things. And it's very easy. So if you have your goals in mind and you live your life in accordance to your values, then everything you do, you can take a look and see how it resonates with that particular value.
Yeah, and that's fantastic advice for, especially in the context of the environment that we're in right now.
Oh.
Being able to align your objectives, your values, and focus on that on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. You mentioned earlier in my introduction that I've been through 4 or 5 recessions now, and I recall them all vividly. I mean, I lost my shirt, which we're going to talk about later, literally in I guess the first one I went through, and learned a few lessons from that. But it's so difficult. I think somebody once said it was difficult to remember your objective was to drain the swamp when you're up to your middle in alligators. The alligators are all snapping around. You forget, well, I'm supposed to drain the swamp.
Right.
And that's what happens in times like this. We're in so many alligators around, we kind of forget. But we must, the key to success, we all get into alligators. But some of us seem to be able to resolve those problems. And in spite of all the alligators, we're able to get ourselves out of that. And that is the ability of focusing at one problem at a time. When I got into trouble financially, this was when the interest rates went to about 22%, I actually had 18 problems that were in excess of $1 million. 18 loans, I owed people money. Three of them were in excess of $10 million. So it was pretty big, And what I did is I literally put the 18 problems down on a piece of paper, and it took me 5 years, Mike. It took me 5 years to solve the problems. But at the end of 5 years, I didn't go bankrupt, and I solved each one. Negotiated, worked the deals through, and did that. And my lenders stay with me, and I still have the same bank today as I had then. So you just have to get your people on side, and once those alligators, in that swamp, see that you have a plan, that you actually have a plan, and that you're focused on solving the plan. You're not running from anything. Yeah. It's amazing how they'll come around.
Yeah, that's great.